Like I've just now had like extra time to do stuff. It's been a while, just with the semester and everything. All right, man. We're live.
So you feel good about the semester being over? You ready to like start fresh with back to? Is it going to be back to normal next year, or what's this?
Yeah, no mask mandate or anything like that. It's just now on campus. Dude, what's crazy to me is I've been out for about 10 days, and I have no idea how I'm able to like work there. Because I've been doing so much stuff since I've been off. It's insane.
I wonder, I was talking to Michael Ward.
Dude, what's that guy up to?
He actually started helping us at the office some.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was telling him where I was going today, and I was like, he's like, I was telling him, he's like, still doing the gym? And I'm like, he is. He's like, is that all he does? I'm like, amazingly, no. Somehow he also is a history professor. Yeah, that's a full plate.
It is, man. And like we got to instruct, like McMillan's out of town, and then Jeff Woods is his wife's going to Georgetown Law for this human rights. I'm not really sure exactly what she's doing, so I don't know. Like, it seems awesome. And I think it's like a PhD. She's already an attorney.
That's amazing.
So it's some sort of advanced degree.
Yeah.
It may just be a master's, but so they're leaving for like 9 months. So he taught the noon class for like the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So McMillan's out of town, so I'm teaching the morning, noon, and evening jiu-jitsu right now.
Wow.
Been working in the studio, getting caught up.
You recently, sorry, I don't know all the language. You were promoted recently?
It's true, yeah.
What was that?
First degree in jiu-jitsu.
That's so cool.
Thanks. You know what's interesting is jiu-jitsu, every other art, you become a black belt, and that is the first degree. Jiu-jitsu is like, no, bro, not only does this take way longer, it's not a first degree. Like,
really?
Yeah, so my judo,
it's like
first
black
degree.
belt 0.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I think that's so amazing.
Yeah, I'm about to test for, you know who Bill Wallace is?
No.
Superfoot. He's the guy who found Belushi dead, the Blues brother.
Wow.
Yeah, he was his trainer.
Jeez.
But so he's like 76 years old. He's like one of the guys that's like, people credit kickboxing to that guy in his generation, but particularly he was undefeated. He was the man.
Wow.
But I'm testing for with him June 5th.
No kidding. So what
And
is that?
it's a first degree.
You go somewhere?
Memphis. Yeah.
Nice.
He used to train Elvis too.
No kidding.
Yeah. I'm not going to the Graceland.
Hey, dude, I loved Elvis so much. When I was growing up, the video store in Clarksville had an Elvis section.
Oh, wow.
It's hard to imagine.
Which video store? Like main video?
The one over behind where Taco Bell is now in Clarksville.
Ooh, home video superstore.
Yeah. Well, not the big one.
Oh.
It was the little one first.
Yeah. And then it ended up becoming like a movie gallery for a minute, right?
Yeah. And it was kind of like a regional corporate thing for a while, but there was like a small one over there that had a whole Elvis section. It's hard to imagine a superstar being that big as Elvis was then.
I know. Yeah. Well, I mean, so I never got super into Elvis. Like what year? Like that's 50s, right?
Yeah. I think that was his heyday.
So what year did like the rise of the Beatles take place?
That would be 63, right?
63. What about Dylan?
Similar.
Before he had the band, you know?
Yeah. Just like Dylan just by himself would be like 64-ish, depending on how hip you were.
Yeah, so I was just, that's, you always see that, like, I saw some meme the other day of a girl just, like, losing it, like, oh, and I was like, that's me at a Panic concert.
Yeah. Did they come out with a new album?
Widespread Panic? They came out with a little EP, like, 2 songs. One that was new and one we'd heard live a few times. Man, the rumor is that they're, like, they as soon as they got the clear, and I guess they all got vaccines, like, dude, they're scheduling so many shows. I've
seen a lot of that. Of like, well, I mean, their whole life is built on touring, and so to go a whole year without it, that's rough. And same with like theaters, people who like live in New York, the whole theater industry.
Like orchestras.
Yeah,
like I've read a couple articles about. Like when it all began, there was some traveling orchestra that got like stranded in Germany for like a month or something. Right? Yeah, like they like everything got closed down.
It's not funny. It's just the whole last year, I was reading the Stephen King book, and he had a quote about something. It wasn't related to this at all, but he said, I think he was talking about high school. And if you think back about high school and how weird it is, you know.
Let me zoom out a little bit, dude. Your head's kind of cutting off.
Oh, sorry. I'm mostly torso.
Yeah, just a second. Keep talking.
So he was talking about high school. This character in this book was talking about high school and how weird it is. But I've been saying it about the pandemic, and the whole last year is just so weird. If we hadn't all lived through it, who would believe it? Like, if we hadn't all gone through it together, no one would believe this story of businesses were shut down.
I mean, I was shut down for 6 weeks, right after I bought this one. I was sitting here, and then let's compound that by the fact with Thurman and I did a whole podcast about this. Oh hey, it's George Floyd riot day. Let's go on Facebook and let's type in any city, Washington, Baltimore, just all these different cities, and somebody like you or me is there live streaming. So there was all this angst. It was the pandemic, and then serious social unrest.
Yeah.
So what an anxious time.
It really is indescribable. Of just how much was going on. People had no idea what to do. You're transitioning presidential administrations. It's just like everything that could be crazy was just all stacking on top of it. So I really got just fatigue. I got scandal fatigue.
Yeah.
I normally keep up with the news and know what's going on and try to stay informed. But at some point I just got to the point where I was just like, I don't have the bandwidth to keep up with all this all the time.
Does anyone?
I know.
What I thought, while he was in office, how does Donald Trump keep up with everything?
Yeah, I think that was part of his strategy, was just flood everything with so much stuff that nothing can be taken seriously or comprehended, because stuff that would be term defining scandal for any other president is just it's just a Tuesday now.
I know. I
mean, and so it's you just
character.
can't keep up with it, and then eventually I'm just I don't care, and it's you have your super liberal friends who are oh my gosh, I can't believe that, and I'm I know, man,
you're with us, right?
I'm dude, I get it, but I'm not saying I don't care. I'm officially marked for being outraged, but I can't live in that state constantly for years and years at a time. It's not helpful.
This is your same argument for Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, really, which is functional. Honestly, there's no mental health associated with how I view Star Wars. It's every conversation we've ever had about it is not doing anything for me,
Right, but it's in your heart, that you're right.
Yeah, but you the way you approach it is
I'm just it's fun.
Yeah, which it is.
But
it
should be. It should be. And sometimes we just arguing, and I overplay because some stuff is kind of and so it's man, so I do think the whole thing with Star Wars is that I think the original, and this is heresy maybe, I think the original trilogy is slightly overvalued.
It is, and we talked about that.
And so it makes the standards impossibly high. Then Disney comes in, they kind of botch some of the stuff, and then it's but I don't know what franchise is perfect to the level that we sometimes wish Star Wars was perfect at.
Well, Corey and I watched New Hope and Empire just recently.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody, I think, on the podcast was pull up what the fight scene with Obi-Wan and what Vader should have been. like somebody redid it. Like,
Oh,
like
really?
beyond, like, you know how people give shit to Lucas for redoing stuff and
Yeah.
with the 97 through 2000 release or whatever, which was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know? But, and it's like, yeah, I kind of guess like that's what you decided to do with all that technology.
Right.
And then it's like you fast forward to like Avatar, but then now it's like Brian and Josh can get together and remix that scene.
I know.
It's badass.
Yeah, I know. It just like I watched The Sopranos recently. I'd never seen it.
I gotta watch. I've started it. I gotta get back.
And okay, so that's interesting because early on it's not great television. And I was like, what's the deal with Sopranos? Everyone talks about it. I never, and so I put it on when I'm doing color correcting because I just kind of have something on. I'm kind of mindlessly going through, adjusting all the color levels and stuff. And then the first like season or two is like very old fashioned television where each episode kind of stands on its own. It's a completely self-contained story. Then the next episode, nothing that happened in the previous episode has any bearing on. It's like that story's completely gone. Like they'll introduce a character, do a whole thing with them, and then the next episode, that guy never even existed. It's like Murder, She Wrote.
It's like Monster of the Week in X-Files.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, especially early on in X-Files, where it's like, like Murder, She Wrote, she's involved randomly with like 600 murders personally, which in real life would be insane. But it's like you watch each week on its own. You're probably not even going to see each week because you have to watch it live when it comes out. So you just kind of, each episode's kind of self-contained. It's like a cute little story in this premise. So that's how The Sopranos starts. It's like, here's one little story inside New Jersey mob family. And it just all kind of goes on its own. And it's lower budget and it's kind of cheesy. And then like halfway through the third season or so, they start doing like little free story arcs. And it's like, oh, now we're going to like stretch this out a bit. Or we got like a whole character story with one guy and his girlfriend that lasts the whole season. And it's like you can see modern television forming in real time as they're figuring out what to do with this.
What are the dates on that? Like start and end?
I don't know.
Like 97 or something like that?
I think like 98 to 20. I don't know. I have to look it up. But it's like it completely morphs to where like the last two seasons, which they actually call 6A and 6B, because I guess no one had ever done that before where they had one long story over two full seasons. So they call it 6A and 6B, where it's one beautiful, amazing story. Got to the last episode. I was like physically shaking. I was so wrapped up in this story. It ended so perfectly.
Oh, wow.
I was so amazed. I quit watching it for like, after like the third or fourth season, I was like, okay, I get it. New Jersey mobsters, they kill people sometimes, they have girlfriends, whatever. Like, and then I heard Ron Howard say on a podcast that it changed television forever.
I mean, I've heard people say similar things.
So I went back to it and finished it and saw that this transformation, because now all television is like that. Breaking Bad is like that.
Yeah, they did the 6A, 6B.
5 seasons, one story. So like that wouldn't have happened like, in the 90s with like Cheers, because it's like just each episode is just one little story and that's it. It's the same characters, it's the same universe, but it's not like a one long story. No one thought of television that way because you couldn't sit down and watch it all at once all together.
Yeah, no, that's the biggest game changer. Is like you couldn't binge things before, right?
And you might miss 4 weeks at a time, so you couldn't keep a story going.
Yeah.
I guess Dallas had the big cliffhanger of who shot that JR. That would have been, but that, that's more of like a gimmick to get people to come back out to the next season than one long story.
Yeah. 99 to 07 is what it said.
Yeah. So that definitely is like transformation of old TV, because even like Seinfeld or Friends, it's kind of like each episode is kind of mostly on its own.
Are you gonna watch that Friends reunion?
I've never actually watched much Friends.
More of a Seinfeld.
Yeah. I don't not like Friends. I just
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the whole series a couple times, but I mean, I'll probably watch a new one.
Yeah, you know what I did start watching? Well, I was watching Mighty Ducks.
Oh, fantastic! The show. I need to watch that.
It's not super, but it's very nostalgic. Like I love those movies so much. So they did a good job of just like pushing the nostalgia button, and my brain's like,
that's like Cobra Kai.
Yeah, exactly. And so the lady from Gilmore Girls is in it.
The mom or whatever. Yeah.
And so the show's kind of like just okay, and then she's fantastic. Like she carries the show. She's so funny. She's so like nuanced of an actor, even in like a silly kind of sitcom setting. And she just delightful. And so I'm like, well, I guess I have to watch Gilmore Girls now. Like
I've watched a few seasons.
And I'm obsessed with it. I think it's so fun. My wife always watched it. I always kind of like kid her about it over her shoulder. Like I would see her watching it and she'd be like, oh, Gilmore Girls. And I think it's so funny. I think like it's just so wholesome. I love it so much.
Yeah, it's Core and I watch it. You know what? Core and I got into there for a while and watched a few seasons of like a long time ago. This is 7, 8, 9 years ago, something. The Pretty Little Liars. You ever see that one?
Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah.
No, what is that?
Maybe it's Pretty Little Lies. Pretty Little Lies.
Huh.
It's about these girls and they're all friends in high school, and I think one of them's like banging her teacher, and there's this guy
A. How often that happens in TV shows,
dude.
Casually.
Corey and I were watching. Dude, Cruel Intentions. Holy shit.
Cruel Intentions. There's a scene in what's that Valley Girl show? Clueless.
Yeah.
There's an angle of that in that movie. I think that is just like a casual storyline of like, oh, Mr. Howard.
Ooh, I need to look into that. Yeah.
You know, it is just like that's so odd. Or 10 Things I Hate About You, maybe.
That's a great one. I love that, man.
Yeah, there's a whole scene where she distracts the professor.
Oh yeah.
Lifting her shirt up, and it's just like, oh yeah, that's so funny. And then now you watch it and you're like, what's happening?
Yeah. You know, but like I was trying to understand this. Like when I talk about Cruel Intentions, there's like insane stuff within that movie, and it's just basically a movie about a bunch of teenagers just having tons of sex.
Yeah.
Like,
which is not unrealistic.
It's not. But it's just crazy how big of a movie that was at the time. And then, like, you know, for the audience of, like, that came out when I was a teenager. So I was like, oh, yeah, I'm the audience at that time. Right. But you think about you being the audience now, or, like, 40-year-olds at the time, it's kind of
weird. And then it's odd. I saw a thing saying that teenagers in general are having less sex now.
Shit, they're not even getting their driver's licenses.
Yeah. And it's because there's just like less secrecy, I guess, or like it's like they know more younger, and then they're just like, so there's not the big like, it's not off limits. Yeah, so it's like they don't have, it's like you want to do whatever you're not supposed to do, especially when you're 17, and so it's like, oh okay, no, that's fine. I don't need that.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but this sort of shift, like you're talking about the shift in TV, but what we have to also realize is like 99. So, you really had the acceleration of the internet within the general public from, let's say, 95 forward, like really starting 95 through 98. And then I'd say you get an uptick 98 through 2000 there. But it's like, we're unique in that I was about 8 years old when all this starts taking place.
Right. Like I remember having a computer that didn't have the internet. Yeah. I remember not having a computer. I remember getting one. It was a big deal, but did not have the internet.
And then you dial up.
Then you got the. That's going to sound great in people's ears. So then you had the slow internet. Then you got the fast internet. And that was a big deal. Then Facebook comes along 04-ish, 02, depending on what college you were at.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember being in high school and I graduated in 06. So like I remember it being 05, like before and it being out.
And you had to be on a college campus at first. And yeah. And then that really accelerated like everyone sharing everything they do on the internet, MySpace and Facebook. But it is wild because I think I had a train of thought and I lost it.
That happens all the time on this podcast. So I was thinking this earlier, but well, we were just talking about all these things changing where you know, like we should just be enjoying The Sopranos and Star Wars.
Yeah. So you're saying that we kind of like we kind of grew up as the internet grew up, like parallel. And then like the people older than us were already grown and never figured out how to use the internet. Like they still use Facebook and stuff, but they botch it all the time. They can't tell the difference between what's real news and what's not real. Like anything that's put in front of them, they assume is true. Like they trust Walter Cronkite so much. Like
he told me Vietnam's bad.
Yeah, he was right. Yeah, and I didn't believe it at first, but trusty Walter told me. Yeah, so they just struggle with the internet because they had already grown and been set in their ways. Then the internet comes along and they start using it. We kind of grew up parallel to it, and we're like pretty good with it, but we're still like struggle when it changes. Like Facebook,
resistance to change.
Like Facebook changes their homepage and we're all like, why does it do that? But like people my daughter's age, they haven't ever known anything different.
That blows my mind. Like to think about that.
They've never not been able to FaceTime their grandma in Texas. That's just that's not revolutionary to them. That's the same thing as like calling grandma on the phone. Like and so they're so savvy with it. They're so savvy with finding good information, calling out bad information. Like I truly think they can save the internet, that generation.
Yeah, well,
because
the contrast of those generations in the same space is really the reason. And then you get this intermediary generation.
Right. And they are so good with it because it's all they've ever known. It's just like getting dressed to them. It's not something it's not something new to them like it is even kind of to us. Like, ooh, the internet's new and cool. The internet just is for them. And so they're really good with it. They're really smart. They're very critical thinkers. And like, if you get on TikTok and see the way that they share information with each other and call out bad information, it really gives me hope, honestly, that it's like, because after like the last couple election cycles and all the bad information and how it's just like a big blanket over everything that I was like, we're never gonna, like, this is the tipping point. Like, this is the end of civilization. Like,
I thought the Black Death hit around.
How can we recover from it? You know, because it's just like, if people don't believe that there is true information and false information, like, and that can be sorted out, how can we ever do anything? But like, then these kids come along and they have no time for BS. They're really nice to each other at the same time in a weird way. And I think it's amazing.
Yeah, man. I was thinking about this earlier. You know, you're talking about just like the angst of the space that we're talking about. But I remember the fitness center that I worked out with at St. Mary's before it closed down permanently.
It's closed down all the way.
Yep, got my $18 reimbursement check. But so I remember I'd go in there 5:30 in the morning. I'd be on the like all this stuff's going on over the last year, and I would get on the elliptical. Like this is like right before the pandemic. Remember when we the United States killed that terrorist guy? Was he Iranian? No, with the drone strike, Trump did it. Trump
the most recent one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said,
I remember that was going on in a play, but I literally got anxiety.
I checked out though. Like I
okay, so I was on the elliptical, right?
Yeah.
So I would never plug into that, but it's like literally it was put in front of me.
Yeah, I'm vaguely familiar with what you're talking about, but I don't know any of the details.
I forget the guy's name, but yeah, they drone strike his ass and just it's done. And I was just like, man, I don't want to start my day with this. And then like that was before the pandemic, right? So it was like that, and then pandemic, election cycle, George Floyd, all that stuff. Yeah. But then like just people arguing on the internet is what got me.
I know,
right?
And it's so wild because like I don't know what the balance is between living with your head in the sand and being involved to help make positive change.
Yeah.
Because I feel like staying informed does nothing but keep me frustrated and angry all the time. With no traction, like with no, like I don't know how to affect change to anything. But if I just live constantly angry and frustrated, that's not a good way to live. And so, like, I don't know. I haven't figured out how to stay informed and stay involved without living
being an emotional
perturbed, like continuously mildly perturbed about every little thing I see.
Yeah, I know that's and I will say I am less plugged into social media because a little bit more on just like the video side, like podcasts and like our YouTube channel. Like I'm still pumping that, but just like I don't know. So people help. I got two Hannahs that help with the gym social media.
They're both named Hannah?
Yeah, the two Hannahs.
That's convenient.
Yeah.
What yeah, I mean we use it for work too, so we have to be on it, and so I don't really have an option of just being like, okay, I'm off social media for 3 weeks.
So you and Cora send me great TikTok videos. Right.
Dude, there's a lot of good content on TikTok, but it is addictive.
Yeah, I know, right?
So I try to take in like small doses. Like I try to schedule out my day to where so intentionally I'm going to allow myself to do this for 15 minutes, like from 8 to 8:20. And then if I am disciplined in doing that, I'll catch up on everything and then let it ride until later in the afternoon. So if I do 2 20-minute little baths in the day, and it's because if you check it you can check it every 30 minutes, it's all new content. But you're taking on the responsibility of filtering through what's new and what's important and what's not important. But if you put a little bit of space, it lets the better stuff bubble up to the top, and you can kind of just catch the highlights. So I would love to get to a place where I was 10 minutes a day. And that way I'm kind of.
How long have you been on it?
This regimen?
Yeah, just overall, 2 years, when it came out, when did you get
TikTok?
Plugged into TikTok? Yeah.
Oh, well, I got on it when it first came out, just to kind of because my daughter wanted to get on it. I just kind of wanted to see what it was about. And then, I really do not have self-control, less than BoJack Horseman. And so it was hours. When it first came out, I was just it's all I ever did for 3 weeks. And then finally I was I can't do this anymore. I'm either going to have to find a TikTok meeting, cause I do not have this. So I deleted off my phone. I don't want anything. Then people found out China was tracking you or whatever. So I kind of used that as my excuse because I didn't want to tell people, no, I just have
very conservative.
I have no self-control. So I got off of it. And then we wanted to try to use it for work. So I got back on it maybe 6 months ago. And I've done better this time of just kind of trying to do, but I still have spurts of it where I'm just it's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed of how much I spend on just social media in general.
Yeah. Well, I would say how I spend time scrolling and stuff. And I think that that's less time getting drawn into other stuff or commenting or like making my views known somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, hey, all right, we can just put that out on a podcast.
Right.
And that's the shift I've been trying to undergo is like, I think about it this way. We keep doing this podcast, and it really, even on some of the gym stuff, like so many, it's like with the gym, social media and everything, so much stuff rolls in. Like, I can't even check all of it. That, like all the gym emails and the different social media pages and like it's too much.
Just staying up with that is a full-time job.
Yeah. And then too, like what do you think about this? This is something, and we may have talked about this, but like getting people involved with your social media, like the two Hannahs do fantastic, like really freaking good job. But they're here every day. Yeah. They see. Yeah. They like. I was thinking about this. How can someone be a social media manager and run your brand and all this stuff that knows nothing about it? Like martial arts kind of is a niche thing that it would be extremely difficult for somebody to just roll in and offer a service that wasn't plugged into the end, you know? Right.
I don't know. I understand so little about social media and how it works. I see that it's very effective for some people, but even the people that are effective with it, I don't think they know exactly why. Like, I don't think anyone can. I think people have some can kind of guess, but just because someone's successful doesn't necessarily mean they know why. If that makes sense. Yeah. And so it's like sometimes this happens like with writers where it's like, well, they've published several books. So people are like, well, what do you do? What's your process? And that becomes like the standard. But like they may not even realize what their actual process is. They're just kind of talking off the top of their head. And that may not be true. Like that may not work for you. But so it's just such a puzzle to me. And we try to spend time on it for our work, but then at the same time, it's like, if we're booked for the year, I don't want to spend more time on it than I have to. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, true. Because
sometimes I don't feel good after I'm on it for a long time. Right. And maybe that probably says more about me than social media itself or like Facebook as a thing. You know, like that's probably something I need to work out. But, I mean, it does feel like an addiction sometimes. Yeah, where it's like I don't want to do it.
I think it is.
I can't stop myself from doing it. I feel like shit while I'm doing it, and then after I'm done, I want to do it again, even though you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like that's a classic like alcoholic cycle. But then I'm just like, yeah, I'm definitely keeping this in my life.
Or really any addictions like sex addiction, like anything like you, a drug addiction, you're like, yeah, it feels great. Like, but Warnick, he was on my podcast and talked about this a little bit. How?
Can we pause for a second?
Yeah, go ahead. What's up, buddy?
Hi. Wow.
Thanks.
So cool.
Thanks, dude.
Wait, Dad, do you have my iPad?
Yeah, I got it right here, buddy. It's been charging. Okay, so it should be good. Can you come sit down right over here?
I'm
Well,
gonna have another couple of chairs in there. Do you see stools right here, Josh? If he wants to sit on either one of those
Here,
on a
you should sit on
table.
the floor right here.
Yeah.
because then I'll have a harder place
Okay.
to sit at and it won't.
But you gotta have it on quiet, okay?
Okay. But do you have any headphones I could use though? Or something like that?
Does this work?
Do you need to do something with that? Also, I'd like to have my knees free.
These may not work, but
Let's see. I think it should work. Let's see.
Cool.
Yes, it is on that. It says okay. And see it's on, it says.
can you just do you have a pair of headphones that's not laced through everything?
Like, yeah, the 3/4, you need the dongle, or?
Just like a regular headphone jack, I think is fine.
Yeah, that's
Actually, yeah, hold on. I got these studio headphones.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect, yeah.
Yeah, oh, you still got the 3.5
Yeah,
millimeter.
these iPads still.
Jealous.
I know.
I've got an older iPad that's great, but I think if I just put more memory in it, it will be even better.
Yeah, they can be hard to open up.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Somebody's like, yeah, you can just add that.
Yeah, you can.
okay.
Okay. You good?
Yeah, it has it on.
Thanks. Sorry.
You guys have that?
We good. All right. You ready?
What?
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna start. Okay. You gotta be quiet. Okay, buddy.
Just kind of like our young Jamie in Joe Rogan's studio.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, can you watch that on TV? Just like he says, you're listening to
Who's
something. Get that up on the screen.
Who's
Just,
yeah? Who's that guy on the Barstool Sports?
yeah, I don't know.
That young guy.
I haven't seen it.
I can't keep up. How does Joe Rogan put out so much content?
He has
He has a staff of like 50 people.
well, he has at least a couple or 3 guys, but it just takes a while to I've got a guy curating my YouTube channels right now, putting
Yeah.
thumbnails and everything, doing edits and uploads and all that.
Yeah.
And
That really is the way to do.
I know, dude. I'm like at this, like working at the university. Now that I'm not doing it, I'm like, how did I do that?
Yeah. Well, we hiring someone full time in the office, and it's just like
Wait, so you have an office like away from your house now?
no, it's just there's like right now it's in my basement because I'm redoing it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like kind of like a mother-in-law suite at the
Yeah.
house, and so we're making that an office with it's got its own bathroom and everything. So
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's the only way you just gotta like trust people to do good stuff.
Well, and delegate with them, and then too, yeah, this is my struggle. I have a lot of people helping, and I'll have like my standard, which I'm not able to carry out. That's why I have people helping, and then like just being okay with people not like being patient,
right.
people not being able
let them
to
get there.
Yeah.
And it's like if it's 90%, is that acceptable?
Yeah. It just
depends on the task.
continued progress is acceptable.
Yeah.
Like that's how I like to work. Like with this guy doing my editing, I'm like today I was like, yeah, dude, kind of messed up on these.
Well, yeah, I try to think of it as like, even if someone's helping me working at a quarter of the speed that I could do.
Yeah.
So in a one day, he does a quarter of what I've done. By the end of the week, that's like giving me a whole extra day.
For real. Like I'm technically a
And then-
month ahead on uploads on the gym channel.
Yeah. Yeah. So then like over the course, like if he gets better progressively and he's working like half of the productivity that I'm able to edit, that's like 2 full days, almost 3 full days a week.
Yeah.
And that's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm gonna I'm just messing around with the StreamYard thing. I'm gonna show you on the TV while we're
Oh yeah.
man, this thing mirrors so seamlessly. Hold on. Oh, let's mute that. Okay. I said it can mirror seamlessly. If I can remember how to do it. Oops. No, that's not it. This TV is great though. I'll just show you on the screen if I can just pull it up. Do you guys use Adobe for your edits or what? A little bit?
My wife does Adobe for photos.
Okay.
She uses Lightroom mostly. We don't do heavy photoshopping for photos.
Yeah.
So she uses Lightroom. I don't prefer Adobe for video. It's not very stable.
What do you like
It's very
using?
memory heavy, memory intensive. And it crashes all the time. Like, seriously, not exaggerating, every time I see someone complaining about their video editing software, it's Adobe.
Yeah. I just started using Adobe Spark. And I really
This is live right now.
yeah, we're live.
I didn't know it was.
Yeah, sorry. I should have told you.
I'm sorry.
No, it's but yeah, I just I threw the background up when you walked out, and then too I had this little thing where it says laughing around. I was supposed to be doing that, but it was like it was like showing the stock text for the first. But see, so what?
Wow.
This is saving me time because you know what? I'm gonna have to upload this later.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna download the YouTube video and strip the audio off of it and put that on my audio host.
That's clever.
So like that cuts out hours.
Yeah.
Now I just need to get ahead on scheduled episodes and have my guy come back in behind me and do thumbnails for the podcast and stuff kind of as they come out.
That really is smart of like just figuring out how to be efficient with repeatable processes. And then it's like I'm resistant to that because I'm like, I gotta be creative or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, but really it's like you still find creativity within parameters. And so it's like setting up repeatable processes where you can be efficient and get stuff done and not waste time. And then you find the moments of creativity within that.
For real.
It's kind of, maybe finding, I don't know. It's like you got to know what you're doing.
No, like it's the several things I do, or it's the muse maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like with making thumbnails or whatever, right? Because that's what got me thinking about this too. Is just that I started using Adobe
Because
Spark.
that's going to be the same every time. It's just like that's a repeatable thing you can do every time. So you don't have to like reinvent the podcast by choosing the right thumbnail.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Exactly. You just have to change the
You
text.
just got to do it. You just got to do it as fast as you can.
And I would argue it is 10 times faster doing it on this phone.
Some stuff is.
It's insane how I can go to YouTube Studio, take a screenshot, pull it from my photos into Adobe Spark, and I've got a few different ones in there that I use for just different things. And like we just got the process rolling, but like I was doing like in Photoshop, like I'd have the thumbnail in it, and like it just was not. Is user friendly as this app for, and it's like, hey, do you want to put this on Instagram, YouTube, whatever? Just click whichever one you want, and we will make it that way.
Wow, that's why I always struggle with social media because I don't do it ever consistently. And I always wait for like this perfect inspiration for the most perfect post or the most perfect take or the,
It's something. It's pedal setups about here. My sound will come together someday,
Yeah,
dude.
right.
But I'm gonna need another.
But it's
few
like you just
pedals.
gotta be consistent with it, and then you get better over time by doing it a lot.
Yeah. How is your integration into the business, the family business? How much have you learned?
I feel fully integrated now.
How long have you been?
Almost 3 years.
Dude, I've been teaching at the college almost.
Yeah.
I'm starting my fourth full-time year. Dude.
That's amazing. So what you need to do? Have you written your book yet? So you can have your kids buy your own book.
No.
That's the real trick, I think.
But I have a bound copy of my master's thesis in my backpack. Okay?
Nice.
And I'm just resorting. I'm like, these are my thesis books up here. Like, there's a big swath of martial arts books I use for my thesis.
Yeah. But I mean, Aaron is so great. Aaron had built a business already before I came in. And so our only worry with me coming in was that I wouldn't produce the same quality of work that she was already, because she had already gone through like the early years and the early struggle in the whitewater and was putting out very consistent, very high quality work. And so that takes a lot of, there's no way to fake experience. And so I kind of had to like sprint to catch up for the first 6 months. And so, the first few weddings I did were for free because we wanted to manage that expectation of what people were getting. We wanted to be pleasantly surprised with what they got for free versus feeling like they overpaid for something that a beginner did.
Yeah, I can see that.
So,
did 2 times recently. I thought about this pants you wore to my wedding, like a blue.
No, the pants or the blazer?
No, it was a blazer. Did you have? It was like a set, right?
I love that blazer so much.
Was it just the blue blazer?
It was just a blazer.
But the color
it fit me perfect. It was the perfect color. I got that at my friend's wedding in California. We went to pick up our suits at like Men's Warehouse or whatever, and they had this blazer on clearance rack. And it was like the last day of the month, and the guy was trying to hit some sales number or something. And he gave me like 50% off. It was a weird size because it was my weird torso size. Yeah. So it was like on clearance. He gave me 50% off clearance. It fit me perfectly, needed no alterations. And then I loved it so much. And I went to, I guess that is the wedding blazer because
it's great.
And then I went and I was at my friend's wedding in St. Louis, and not sure exactly where it went.
Yeah, you weren't talking about it in past tense.
Yeah, it was like it went. I wore it to the rehearsal dinner, and then the after party was at like a bar in a hotel in downtown St. Louis, and then I don't remember.
Yeah, we should get another one with you.
But I've looked for it. I've tried to find
the color. Like I'm a blue connoisseur.
I've ordered 2 different ones, and they weren't it. So
yeah,
it's funny how attached you can get to something like that.
Did you have the matching pants or just?
No, it's just a blazer.
Yeah, it's great.
That's how great of a blazer it is. You think of it as a whole suit.
I was thinking about it as a whole suit. Right.
That's funny. Here's a funny story. I ripped my pants Sunday. This last wedding we were at Sunday.
Were you like getting an extreme shot?
No, I was getting out of the car, like I got a bag, held a case, and then a dime fell out of the back of the car somehow. And I always tell my daughter, it never pays to get in a hurry. Don't rush. It just leads to more chaos and more mistakes. And so, but I didn't set my camera down. I bent over to pick up this dime, and I didn't have time, or I didn't take the time to like do, the little old man move where you hike your pants up like around the mid thigh. You pull, before you sit down. So you have to do that when you're wearing suit pants.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. Bent over.
And this was the beginning. This was during the unloading.
I'm showing up to unload, and I was like, I just ripped my pants. And Aaron's like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And we'd done 3 weddings in 4 days and like 5 weddings in 10. This was like the 5th wedding in like 9 days that we had done. So all my backup clothes and stuff weren't in the car. And I was like, I have nothing. And it's like very clearly ripped. I'm wearing bright red briefs. So there was like no kind of just like faking it. And so luckily we were there. We were showing up like 30 minutes earlier than we were supposed to be. I Jeff Gordoned over to Target and bought a pair of pants.
See, one of my favorite pants of all time came from Target. Okay?
Yeah.
Levi's 513 straight jean. They're not tight pants, but they're like some of my pants are too tight around my leg, right? These are perfect. I'm gonna get like all of the different colors. They got great colors. These are great.
I recently bought a pair of pants from, I can't even remember the place because it's not somewhere I'd ever shopped before. It was a similar thing where I needed to buy a pair of jeans for a thing, and I was near a mall, and it was I can't even think of the name of it anyway, but I loved them.
I think I got these in Nashville at a Target, dude. If I'm not mistaken, I was going to see Widespread Panic.
There you go.
At the Ryman.
The Ryman.
It was awesome. Great. It was great, dude. Todd Snyder sat in with him. We're seeing that dude Wednesday.
Really?
From today, yeah.
We went to the Grand Ole Opry at the Ryman.
See, there was an awesome mall. Like, that's what made me think of, there's an awesome mall by the Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah, I know that mall.
Yeah.
I love Nashville.
It did the food.
Food.
Fantastic.
That's one of my favorite places to go, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're doing a wedding in South Carolina, I think, or maybe West Virginia, or maybe Virginia. Somewhere over there, we're doing a wedding. We're going to stop at Nashville on the way back for a couple of days.
West Virginia became a state during the Civil War.
Wild.
Yeah.
Wild story.
So you know what else became a thing during the Civil War, according to the memes on it? A1 steak.
A1 steak. Yeah, I knew we were going. A1 steak sauce. Yeah.
Oh, man.
And Southern Baptist.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. Okay. So, did you get into the Bart Ehrman dude I told you about? I was just about to tell you about him. Realize I already told you the New Testament, the historical Jesus.
I got it downloaded. I haven't started yet. Yeah. Third time.
I mean, it's 24 lectures in the 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, but he teaches history of Christianity at Rutgers.
Nice.
And New Testament. So, but man, I turned right around and did his new courses on the New Testament.
I'm excited to start. I started another Stephen King book, which is just.
How many Stephen King books have you done?
I'm going through every one of them. I'm like halfway. It's like 1988 right now.
Has Misery come out yet?
I think I'm right there. I think I'm coming up next on.
Do you know who Billy Strings is?
No.
Okay. He's a famous bluegrass picker.
Okay.
Right. He flat picks like Doc Watson. Right. And people have been telling him he looks like Kathy Bates from Misery. Amazing. Like like people have been like he cut his hair off, right? But people have been telling him they're like, dude, like posting memes on like in Panic Stream and stuff because he sat in with Panic at the Ryman also, dude. And this guy's like 25 or something, but people will post pictures of him with short hair and like make memes out of Misery memes and stuff.
So I'm reading that, and then I started a book about writing it's called Story, and I'm obsessed with that right now. My friend Travis recommended that to me, so I have it next. I try to do a fiction and a nonfiction parallelly at the same time to kind of just keep balanced.
I keep several different things, like, and I go down little rabbit holes like that. I got on that Bart Ehrman dude, and I was like turned right around to listen to another one of his courses.
I did that with Ender's Game. I listened to Ender's Game, and the next thing I knew, I had done like 12. There's like 20 books in that series, and I got to like 12 or 13 before I kind of fizzled out. But they're up there.
Yeah. You ever read any of the Master and Commander series?
No.
You know the movie. With Russell Crowe that came out.
I know the movie.
Big series of books.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, you got anything you've published recently that
Nah,
you've written? Are you writing anything?
I'm still just trying to figure out this novel. I haven't been writing any short stories. I was doing really good with short stories, and I liked that a lot. And I had a high rate of getting them published.
Yeah, you had several pieces
I
published.
started working on this novel, and just man, look at that! The chair
It's for
turns around.
typing, yeah.
No kidding.
I need a.
So your chair turns around, so you can
This came with two.
you can sit in it like AC Slater at the Max.
Yeah, dude. And well, see, this is you do this to kind of type. Like I need to put that on shorter. Watch how tall this thing goes, dude. Take this off.
What are these called?
Capisco. That's the elitist way to say it. I was saying Capisco.
Okay. Yeah, it's up there.
Right.
It looks less flattering that high.
See, like that would be like standing desk height,
Okay.
right? But I just looked up the way to knock this thing. I have to knock the other one out with a mallet.
It sounds like something Mr. Gary can help you with.
Yeah, I may attempt it after this. I'll say so. I've got some barn wood. I'm doing an accent wall back there. I'm hanging all my guitars on the accent wall.
That's cool.
So I'll clear up a bunch of space down there too. But yeah, Pops is gonna have to help on that, and possibly the chair.
Mm-hmm. What were we talking about? So good at.
You've got a few things published.
Yeah.
I turned around and distracted you with
I don't
mine.
know. So my friend Travis recommended me this book story, and I finished my book 2 times now and just don't feel great about it. And good sense would tell me to just abandon it and move on to the next project. I already have like so many notes for the next book I have in mind that I just should probably do that. But I just really, in my heart, want to get a good version of this novel done, even if it never sees the light of day. I just feel like I'll learn more from like properly finishing one than poorly finishing 5, if that makes sense.
Did you ever write any original songs, music, lyrics?
Oh yeah.
Did you feel the same way about those?
About my. What do you mean?
Well, I guess you probably never tried. Like, did you ever like publish any poetry or lyrics or like?
I recorded a bunch of songs that I wrote.
And you undoubtedly probably played them live on coffee shops or wherever.
Yeah, people love it when you break out your own original songs that they've never heard before, but I did it all the time.
Yeah. So, but did you feel? Because people talk about what you said about your novel like all the time. I felt like, God, I can't put it out. Like, dude, it's the same thing about like my pedal board down here. I joked about it, but it's like I need the next pedal before my sound really comes together. It's like you're never quite happy with what you've.
See, I know that feeling of like that's kind of part of creativity is like you're never quite done with it. It's like Lauren Michaels says about Saturday Night Live. We don't go on because we're ready. We go on because it's Saturday night at 11. Mm-hmm. And you just at some point you do just have to hit send. And that's how I feel about all my music is like it's not perfect, but it's shareable. And I don't feel like I've gotten my novel. I have shared my novel with a few people to read it, but I think the premise of it, the kernel of the premise is better than the idea of telling the story of it. And so this book, it's called Story, is just about the mechanics of story writing. And so I'm going back through one more time to try to make it easier to read. Because I feel like right now, if you push through, like my friends who love me and did me a favor by pushing through to get to the end of it, they liked it. But most people are not going to be that generous to an author, to a book by someone they've never read. Like they're going to read the first 30 pages. Well, the first 30 pages are interesting. Then they're going to read 30 more and be like, what is happening? And they're never going to get to the last 100 pages. So I'm taking one more swing. I'm going to kind of like allow myself 6 months of really trying to iron this out. But I do believe that the nugget of the premise is really good and relatable and timely. So,
have you talked to Eli Craner anymore?
oh yeah, I
Yeah,
text him.
that guy back. He's
I
like he's
text
famous
him.
now.
He's getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is like a mild hero of mine, and I text him probably at least once a week, and he's very generous.
He's still working at
He's still teaching.
Yeah, that's what he's like working at the old high school over
Yeah.
what's that called, Gardner?
Yeah, I don't know what that building's called specifically, but he's doing that, you know, just until I don't know how. I mean, I guess as soon as he sell, like I don't know. Maybe he'll do that forever, even after he publishes 10 books. But he likes it. He's good at it. He's a good coach. Like he's a good teacher. He's one of my biggest encouragers and just keeping me writing and keeping me in it when I get discouraged.
Yeah, it's a weird. Maybe this guy. Maybe it's like this for him. I'd like to ask him, but like for me, like I love getting to teach history, like a lot. So just the fact that I get to do this, like a bonus I get paid for, is painful.
It's good.
It's like a major bonus that I get paid to do that.
Mhm.
It's not a bonus of some of the other stuff I have to do. But I wonder, like some people just would not feel any reward. Like we got to a weird place with this business where I no longer have to. I don't have to work at the university if I didn't want to.
Right.
But dude, the benefits and the retirement, like there's some incentives, but I'm just like, yeah, just teaching the class and the Bart Ehrman books.
I know. Yeah, I understand. You know, because like I used to teach like guitar lessons and drum lessons on the side in my previous life because we needed the extra money, and then you know, business has done well. We survived the pandemic, and it's like someone asked me the other day if I would do guitar lessons, and I was just like, I don't think it's not a good use of 30 minutes a week for me to ask your son if he practiced this week and then him lie to me that he did when I can obviously tell he hasn't even touched his guitar since last lesson. And then, so now it's going to take us 6 weeks to learn this one song that he should be able to learn in one day, but he just doesn't care enough. But you like that doesn't, it's not worth it to me to do that anymore.
I understand
what
with
you're
private
saying.
lessons out here. Like I still work with Nick Oots from Sign Up, and that's it.
Really?
Like, dude, sometimes like I had to like check myself because some dude was just like expecting that he was expecting that I would do personal training with him, and I was just like, dude, you're a new white belt, and I'm not letting you torque on me. And if I did, it would be very expensive. Like, dude, like, I mean, and he goes like 2-3 hours with me, but when I go see that coach, it's like $125 a session.
Yeah.
Because it's like, that dude's busy.
But that's the value of the time.
Yeah. Like that's in, I don't know if I could put with everything with here in the university and personal stuff. I like this podcast.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Yeah. Cause ultimately I work so that I can live. And if it doesn't feel like living to me, I don't need to add more work to my schedule. And so, you know, because we get that sometimes with the photography, like, oh, why don't y'all shoot any weddings in town? Why are you always in Little Rock? Or why are you always in Tulsa? And it's like, oh, because they pay more. You know? So it's like that way we can do as few weddings as we have to live our life.
I know, man. It is like you're just trading pieces of your life.
Yeah. And it is really like an economy of time.
That's why, really, honestly, like this whole thing you see here at the gym was not financially motivated. Like, oh, we need more classes, more members. It was literally so we could get home at like before 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's why we have multiple classes at the same time. Like most of the gyms I know are starting their last class, which would be a class that people like you and I would come from, like adult martial arts.
Right.
It after 8 o'clock.
Wow.
Class is an hour.
Yeah.
Like,
so that puts you home at 10.
Yeah. Like, are you going to eat dinner before? Like,
right.
I mean, it's just, what, did you get off at 5? Like,
That's tough, dude.
I know. Like we put it. I'm like, okay, look, get here right after work, like 5:30, 5:45. That's when my adult classes start.
Or early in the morning.
I'm out of here by 7:30, and it's great. I can't fathom doing other things and being here past 7:30. Like that's where it's at.
Yeah, well, especially when you have children. Like it just changes how much you care about certain things. Like I watch so fewer sports than I did when I was like 22.
Dude, I don't even watch the MMA that much anymore.
Well, yeah. But it's just, it really is, there's how many hours in a week?
103. 24 times 7, is that what we're doing? 168.
Okay, so
I was going to say 176.
So you're going to sleep about 6 hours a day or 8 maybe. You know, you're going to eat every day. You're going to
dry off all 8 of the dog paws.
Yes. Like, so you're down to, you know, how many usable hours in a day? 10.
If that.
You know, then you take your kids to school, you pick your kids up from school, or somebody has to do that. Or you know, so it's like.
Did you build commutes and bathroom breaks and everything else into that? That is a consistent, like Jeff Woods was talking about how he had like calculated the amount of years he had spent driving to Russellville from Conway every day. Years in the car.
Yeah.
Over like a 20-year period, like he has spent
a full year.
Yeah.
I believe it, and it's just like but this strangely slides into this conversation of like minimum wage and everything, because it's like people have to work like 50, 60 hours a week to like just barely pay their rent.
Yeah.
And like barely pay their rent, barely pay for food. If they have a flat tire and the air conditioner goes out in the same month, there's not enough. There's just not enough. You can't do it.
Dude, having a flat tire when I was in college is such a big deal.
Devastating.
Like I remember when this is an incident. I was sweating around with these karate people, and the dude was like 30 days late on paying me my part, right?
Yeah.
And because he just would cut me a check every month because I had like 40 students. And I had a blowout, and like I went in, he was late, and I had not been giving him a hard time about it, but I was like, dude, I gotta go buy a tire, man. And I'm broke, man. I work on campus, and I'm teaching martial arts, you know, and I want to ask my parents for money. I mean, I was like, just getting back into college and stuff, and he's like, just didn't handle it well. Ended up apologizing later, but I opened my gym like about 4 weeks after that.
Yeah.
I was just like, dude, this is not what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about that a lot with all of these fast food, coffee, whatever, Starbucks, wherever. It can't. They're having problems getting workers.
Right.
And it's because you don't pay anything.
Right.
And inflation is, dude, our processing fees, like the amount of money I pay to take payments. I know.
We deal with that too.
Dude, it has gone up an insane amount.
It's hard because it's the fastest way to get money from people is let them pay with a credit card, but you lose the most of it through the processing fees. Because if we tell them to send a check, it sometimes takes longer. Mm-hmm. And then they forget and stuff, but yeah.
Are you able to take ACH, like run people's bank account?
We can. It's just not a smooth because it's like a one-time. Mm-hmm, you know, yeah. I think ACH works great for like recurring monthly things. Yeah. I think that's brilliant. You know, like I do that for a lot of the bills I pay. But for like the client experience or for like a bride and groom client experience, it's a little cumbersome. And so if they don't know what that is, it's kind of hard to walk them through it.
Yeah, what's a routing number? It's that second batch of numbers on the bottom of the check that you don't.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like first you have to go find your checkbook because I don't.
If Cora has them in the drawer, and it's in the same drawer every time in the gym, but it's like it looks weird. It's like a book with checks in it.
Oh, it's like
a
the
big. It's a
yeah,
big,
yeah.
But it's not like, hey, it's sent from our bank, you know.
Right.
But I'm like, man, it's rough. I never can find it consistently.
But I don't know what to do about, and that's just one of those things that somehow become politicized, like people earning a living wage. Like how is there two sides of that issue?
You think you deserve a living wage?
Right. It's like you're working 50 hours a week and you can't afford rent at any apartment complex in the city, that same city you live in. How entitled do you think you are that you deserve that? Like, how did that? I don't know how that became. Except I actually do I started that Nixon Land series, and it's amazing. And I'm only halfway through it. I did the Goldwater book and the Nixon Land book, and so I'm at like the late 70s. He just started his second term, so like he's about to get impeached and everything. So like right now he's like riding high. Everyone loves him. And so, but yeah, he really started. Nixon really started that. I guess Goldwater did it more on accident. As far as like he was just kind of going off his instincts. He was just like a gunslinger, like I'll say whatever I think. And Nixon was a lot more calculated, had no political ideology at all. He just knew how to like manipulate the system and to take sides on certain issues to win certain voter blocks and everything. And he really kind of started that whole thing of like, oh, these lazy people. And it's like, I don't know what people are supposed to do besides work a full-time job. And if you're working a full-time, like there's such a big difference between like being mega wealthy and like just having enough money to pay all your bills comfortably.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it's just amazing to me that people have taken sides on that issue. Earning a living wage. No, I'm not for that.
You don't deserve it.
Okay, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how to have a conversation with that.
Yeah, no, I think too. It's like anything. People get to. It's like, okay, it's a problem, and then people from both sides get to tossing in solutions or no solutions.
Right.
That there should be no action. And then but then one side will toss out universal basic income or something like that. And then that's totally against the tenets of this.
Yeah.
And that's what I use this metaphor with somebody the other day, and take it however you want. But it's like, I was like, it's kind of like any religion, Christianity, whatever. Like they made up all the tenets and then they didn't think through like 4 or 5 parts.
So you got to make them all make sense now.
And then like somebody was like, but bro, what about that part? And you're like, well, let me triple down on that.
Well, actually, yeah, right. Because it's like, this is our side. And so we're going to do whatever our side does. Yeah. Well, I don't think I'll think of anything more insightful than that.
No.
I'm certainly not qualified to talk on these issues.
Yeah, but here's the thing: you're definitely qualified to have like levels of empathy for other human beings.
Yeah,
like
we run a small business. We're trying to hire people. We hire contractors all the time. We contract helpers all the time, and so,
Does that dude still play music?
Oh yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I hadn't seen or heard from him.
We kind of stumbled into each other on accident, and we were in between. We had this guy from the U of O that was helping us, and he just graduated, and he's like, moving on with his life and furthering his career like a selfish person.
Yeah, geez.
It's no, but he was great. He was so awesome. He was a hard worker. He was reliable. But he's just moving on to another phase of his life, and we just happened to be looking, and then I stumbled into Michael, who I hadn't seen in years, and he was also in between like what he was doing, and so he's going to start for us soon. And but it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, man. We graduated together. Yeah, he was in my class. Well, dude, you want to go ahead and wrap it up?
I think so. I don't have any. Do you do like a rapid fire thing at the end, or you should get like 10 questions that you just zing everyone with at the end.
I may have one of those. Hold on.
Great.
Corey's gonna knock the TV off the wall.
You got a secret question? This is like a Paul Schaefer thing.
Maybe. Let's see here. Yeah, like Inglourious Bastards thing. Somebody made these. It was on. We didn't get to do all of them.
Okay.
If the moon was made of cheese, would you eat it?
Yes.
What about green cheese?
Green cheese?
Yeah.
What's green cheese?
I don't know.
I guess so. I mean, I love cheese, so yeah, I would eat. If the moon was made of cheese,
Would you eat it then?
that would be amazing. Though.
You've
Think
been
how expensive that cheese would be. That would be the most expensive charcuterie board, charcuterie board.
dude, Corey was all about the charcuterie board. I was like, can we have a real meal?
No, it's great.
Oh, God.
It's a
She was
meal
trying to
that-
sell me on that.
You make the meal last like 3 hours. You just keep eating it, keep eating it.
We did that anyway. After we went to the Jasper Cafe.
Yeah. I love. I'm gonna.
What would be the first thing you'd do if you won the lottery?
Just pay my house off. I think any normal middle class person would just pay off all that they have.
Yeah, right? Especially like that, you own a business.
Yeah,
Favorite film director?
Wes Anderson,
Wes Anderson of what's some of
Royal Tenenbaums.
Okay, there you go. Oh, Angelica Houston. I hadn't seen that in forever,
Man,
dude.
it's so good.
Yeah.
We're gonna be after. I'm in the basement right now. Once the office is done, I'll move all my office crap into the office.
You guys had somewhat recently bought a new house?
Yeah, like 5 months.
Yeah.
And so we've done all the like living spaces, like the bedrooms and bathroom, kitchens, living room. So now the office is being redone. Once I move my office out of the basement, we're putting a movie room down there. And I've got the whole projector planned out and everything.
Oh,
It's gonna be
nice.
so
You're doing
great.
like movie seats?
Mm-hmm. Well, we're gonna do like kind of a plushy couch situation. So it's a little more comfortable, a little more cozy than a theater chair.
Yeah.
Big couch that converts to a bed. Like they have these modular couches that you can rearrange them and it's a bed, so it can double as a guest room.
Oh, nice.
But I had like this big decision of what's the first movie I'm gonna watch in my own theater.
Ooh.
So
What's the
Royal Tenenbaums is on the list. The Godfather. Then long shot, maybe Pan's Labyrinth.
Ooh, Corey and I've watched that several times. I watched it somewhat recently.
Yeah.
Dude. Oh.
I love that movie so much. I saw it in there's an indie theater in Springfield called the Moxie,
Mhm.
and I accidentally saw it there. I used to just go to that theater not knowing what even was showing, and which is my favorite way to watch a movie. I don't like to even see movie posters. I definitely do not watch trailers
Yeah,
because there's
wow.
so
Yeah,
many.
we talked
There's
about
so
that.
many spoilers, and so I would just go to the Moxie, 1 ticket please, sit down. Whatever started, I would sit there and usually love it. Sometimes it would be kind of weird, but I saw the Pan's Labyrinth and I just remember sitting in that seat like, this is perfect.
That's a wild
Yeah.
movie, man.
That director like mortgaged his house or something to make that movie. He had no money no one would give him money to make that movie, and he had to like basically financially ruin his life to pay for it.
Wow. Yeah. What year did that come out? Like 09?
That would have been about probably it's fuzzy for me. 08, 09.
Yeah, so here's somebody who Trump pulled down the podcast. I'm friends with him on Facebook. But when I was in Kentucky for Michael Zibler's wedding years ago, Drew Kogan and I were across the street from some weird movie theater inside of a mall.
Yeah.
That was one of the only like 50 movie theaters in the country that showed Boondock Saints 2.
Really?
Yeah, so we saw it.
There's a second.
Yeah,
one?
All Saints Day, dude.
I've never seen either one of those.
The first one's cult classic. Second one's not bad. But Sean Patrick Flannery, Powder, Young Indiana Jones,
Okay.
is a Jiu Jitsu black belt.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's a big thing in Hollywood, Jiu Jitsu, right?
Mhm.
It's kind of like I think that's such a strange lifestyle. I think that it's good. I think they like being centered, or like it's kind of like the Zen side of it.
Yeah, it
and
is.
like the self-control, self-mastery type.
It is beneficial. I mean, Keanu Reeves does it. Ashton
Yeah.
Kutcher does it. Like, there's a laundry list of celebrities.
Vince Vaughn, I think.
Scott Conn. Oh, dude, here, guess who does this? And he was in one of my friend's Facebook pictures last night. Robert Duvall.
Really?
Yeah, dude's 90
I was
years
gonna
old, bro.
say, he's got to be at least.
Pedro Sour.
Hey, good for him. I mean, that's all the reasons I love it for my kids. This is what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's great.
Yeah. Well, dude.
All right. Well,
Great talking to you, Josh.
it's time to start talking in that tone of voice.
Yeah.
Time to go. I'm the worst person at getting. I always got mad because I couldn't get my mom off the phone, and now that's me. I'm like, well, I got okay. Let me tell you 3 more stories, and so then the person's like, I'm late for work. I have to go.
Yeah, but I need to see you get some context on this last one, real quick.
Let me give you the first story that sets up this actual story. And
So how was your day?
Right.
This is me, Andrew, and that's a podcast.
All right. Well, bye.
Signing off.